Hey everybody, what's going on? David here, and I'm going to show you another Fantasy Grounds rule set. And this is the Numenera Ruleset, and it is absolutely free. Yes, that's right, I said free. And it comes with any Fantasy Grounds license, the standard license or the ultimate license. And this has everything that you need to play Numenera. Now, take into consideration, you will not get any data, you won't get any classes, anything like that. You're just going to get the rule set, and it will recognize what the skill DCs are. It will have a full-blown monster sheet, a full-blown character sheet. It'll have an item sheet. You can do this up, especially with the new 3.2 patch. You can create your modules and do it any way that you want to, and use the new drop-down boxes to organize your content or data any way that you want to. And to start up a Numenera game, all you want to do is I'm on the startup screen here, and you go to Create New Campaign, scroll through your rule sets, look for the N for Numenera, put in any other extensions that you have, and start the game, and it's as simple as that. Okay, so you've started your Numenera game. I'm going to show you everything that the rule set has to offer. First off, it's going to look like all the other rule sets that Fantasy Grounds has to offer. It's based off of Core RPG from what I could tell. Your chat box is here on the left-hand side. You can also send tells to the different players. You can drag and drop information. It has that capability. Lower left-hand corner, you're going to have a modifier box and your dice. On the very bottom, you're going to have your macro bar, which you can utilize 96 different macros using Control, Shift, or Alt, or any of those other variations where you can add Control, Alt together, etc. Alright, now, top right-hand corner, this is where a lot of the options and stuff are. First off, it has a working combat tracker, and the combat tracker does have some things that are linked in with the character sheets that you can create with this rule set. Now, take into consideration, this Numenera rule set is not fully automated like the Dungeons and Dragons 5e rule set is. Numenera is a very rule light set, well, a rule set, and for what the rule set is, this rule set is perfect for it. It has working DCs. It tells you what the DCs are, what your role would be, compatible to which DC level that you're trying to hit, so forth. And I'll show you that in just a second. And you can add character sheets. You can add NPCs to the combat tracker. This also has a working party sheet, and it has inventory. There's really not XP that you can do with this party sheet, but inventory, you can create loot parcels and assign everything to the players that are in the party sheet. Really nice. Alright, and then here's something for maybe drawing a map, maybe putting tokens down in marching formation, stuff like that. Also has a calendar, working calendar. Also has a color palette that you can change the colors of your dice, as you can see. It has the day and night functionality. It's where you can tell the rule set you're at night, and it gives a ambience to the players that is actually really nice. And the first time a player will see this, they'll be like, oh, whoa, cool, what just happened? So here's your custom modifiers that you can make. Here is a customizable effects and conditions that you can put here. And here is the checkboxes, the options where you can turn on the dice tower that you can see down here. You can, create the tokens to a 100% scale grid. You can do a lot of things. There's not as many options in here as there would be for, say, the 5e rule set, but nonetheless, this is fully functional, like I said. Alright, so you're going to notice that, like I mentioned when we first started, there's no modules in here. There's no content whatsoever that comes with this. So you're going to have to create everything yourself. And I've done that. So I'm going to go ahead and activate all of the modules that I've created. And I just took a bunch of stuff out of the core book because I am setting up a Numenera game. And you can do this yourself. I mean, this is super easy to do. It is a little time consuming. But once you get it done, you don't ever have to do this again, and just make sure that you back the information up, the modules, on like maybe a storage cloud or maybe like a zip drive or pen drive or something. Alright, so I'm going to show you everything else what the banners can do. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, like I said, you're going to have to create the modules. You're not going to have this data. So first off, character sheet. To create a character sheet, you can import these, you can export these. It has the same capabilities as the other rule sets. You can right click and create an item, or you can come down here to the little radio button, the edit list, and you can add a character that way. I just right click, it's just easier for me. Now the character sheet, you can see that if you're familiar with the actual rule set of Numenera, you see that it has the 3 ability scores: might, speed, and intellect. You can see that it has all of the different edges. You can tell the character sheet if you're specialized, if you're untrained, if you're trained, etc. Any other bonuses that you have to throw in there. It has your descriptor, your type, the type of focus that you are a such and such that who blank, and then you can just fill it in with all the other ways to customize your character in Numenera. So as you can see on the bottom, here's your damage track. Whenever you lose an entire pool point, you lose all those, you put 1 check in there, and then you're impaired, and then there's the modifiers are automatically added in your rolls. If you lose your second pool, another check, you're debilitated, and you lose your last pool, stat pool, then you're dead. That's how it goes. You can do your recovery rolls, and there are 4 recovery rolls per day, and all you do is you just do your first one, hit the recovery roll, and it'll roll it +1. Then you just go ahead and check it. Then you can do the next one 10 minutes later, roll it again. Then the next one you can do is an hour later. So I like the way that the recoveries are in Numenera. You just can't do a bunch of healing surges or a bunch of healing dice and stuff. I like the way that they space them out like this. So it has also skills that you can add, and you can hit the little radio button here or just create one. And you can also create these on your story tab, and you can drag and drop these as well. So these have a macro involved, and you just click on that, and you'll have the different trained, specialized, etc., etc. And there's a bunch of different skills, just like there is in the other games. So it keeps track of that. It has a macro on it. The inventory tab, you can create items and stuff here. Like I've already done these. These are already pre-made. You won't have these, and you can just, as you can see, you can just drag all this stuff over. Simple as that. Tells you if it's a cipher, if it's an artifact, etc., etc. It has the little pins here that you can click, and it tells you what the alcohol bottle is, a bottle of your favorite drinking alcohol. So it has the limit of ciphers that you can have, so you can have, depending on what class that you start off with, you'll get X amount of ciphers, and then here's your total. You can't go over that, and then you start losing ciphers and whatnot. Here is the currency tab. It also does work with the party sheet, like I had said. When you distribute loot, it will also distribute it to the character sheet to where the players won't have to do it. You can do that for them. Pretty nice. Next tab is a notes tab. This is where you're going to put your background, any kind of notes. And then the last tab, this is a really nice tab. This is initiative, and it also puts it into the combat tracker. And it'll actually adjust all of the monsters and the player characters depending on what initiative that they roll. Now the monsters all have a static initiative depending on their level, but the players get the roll, so it will adjust them in the combat tracker. Really nice. Here's your armor. Anything with armor, speed reduction from your armor. Here's your attacks. Same thing. You can hit the radio button to create them. I just right click, and you can see here you just fill out all the information by clicking on the little spyglass here. You tell it what type, what type of damage it is, what type of range, how much ammo you have of it, what ability skill this is associated with, are you trained, untrained, etc., etc. So it's really nice, and it keeps track of it for you. And you don't have to create these on your own. It just, it does it for you pretty simple. You just fill in the blanks. Here's your abilities. Same thing down here. I believe that this also may have a macro as well. Yeah, it depends on what the ability modifier that you use for that skill is, and then how much edge it costs, etc. and then you can put the description, and it is simple as that. The character sheet is fully functional, and you can see that your health, whatever your health is on your character sheet, will be linked into the combat tracker with the initiative and the level. Levels mostly for the creature, and you can tell what you need, the players need to do for a defense roll or for an attack roll. So pretty nice. And you can see here when I add a character, here's your initiative, here's your, you're in good shape. Here's your 3 health pools, and then anything else, attacks, whatnot. So it's actually a really nice combat tracker. All right, so let's take a look at the other stuff. So we've taken a look at the character sheets. This is your basic notes, to where you just take notes. Your players will take notes. You can take notes. You can make them public, etc., etc. The next tab down is the images and maps. This is where you put all your images, link them into your story tabs, all that stuff. And you'll see that here's the group box here, and this is really nice. And you can also add images. You just click the folder here, and it'll just open up just a folder for you from the Fantasy Grounds. Here's everything that you would just add in here in this folder, and it would add it. You can go to the store. Now this is really nice, and this is what the new 3.2 patch has done. You can actually, basically, when you create your module, you can make each individual module to show up in these group boxes, and that's what I've done, because I want my images to be easily searchable. And there is a search function down here on the bottom as well. But if I want to go to my artifacts and say, okay, what does this artifact look like, and you name them the way you want, and here, here's what shock manacles look like, or here's what an ecstasy paralyzer looks like. Ladies, how's it going? Here's your kinetic shield, what a kinetic shield looks like. Here's what the fiery hellmaker looks like, and etc., etc. And you can change these depending on what module that you have them in. So here's all of the bestiary, all of the different monsters that are in the core book, and I label it to where it says the bestiary core rule book, and you can label these any way that you want to, and then you can link these onto the monster sheets. You can link these onto the story tabs or story journals as well. It's really nice, but take into consideration you won't get this stuff. This is what I've already created. Now this also does have table creation, and this really makes it nice for Numenera, especially because of the multitude of ciphers and artifacts, especially from the core rulebook. Also, there's ciphers in all the other different setting books in the guidebook. There's a Sir Arthur's guide to magic, and there's like 700 ciphers in there, and there's tables for all of those, and it's easy. You just create a table. I've got a tutorial for that, so you can check that out. And then if you say the party gets a couple of ciphers, you just have them click it, or you click it, and it has these ciphers and tells them once they get what they get, and they can just drag and drop those onto their character sheet. Really nice. Tells you everything about the artifact, all that good stuff. So, and then you can make more advanced tables where you can take all 8 tables that have 100 items on each table, and then roll one. It'll roll for which table, and then it'll roll on that table, and it's a beautiful thing. And I've got a tutorial for that as well. And like I said, the table capabilities is really nice, and you have to create those yourself. Now here's your story template. This is where pretty much all of your class information is going to be, all of the information for skills, the foci, all kinds of lore of the world, your gazetteer. I don't have anything in here yet, but I will. This is the last thing I'm going to work on, but you get the gist of it. You just right click it here, create a new tab, or you can go down here to the radial button menu and create one here. Alright, so next is the quest tab, and the quest tab used to be in with the story tab, and this is basically where you make parcels. So you can make parcels and create them here, put in your XP, but you cannot distribute it through the party sheet. The only thing that you can really distribute is loot. So there you go. Alright, moving on is the NPCs, and This is a beautiful thing about the rule set, because the NPC character sheet, here's a blank one that I've just created. And you can see here that it has everything needed for Numenera. It has the monster's level, and then the number in the parentheses is going to be its initiative. It has its static health, the static damage, the armor, everything else. Movement modification, GM intrusion. On the next tab it has their motives, their environment that they're in, the interaction that you can have with this NPC or monster, the use and what loot is on it, and any other description. And you can also take any image and you can drop it into this box here where you put all of the lore, as you can see. So you can, not have to worry about having to try to somehow create monster sheets with the core RPG. Whoever created this rule set already made a dedicated NPC sheet, which is really nice. So I've already made a bunch of monsters. I've already gone through the entire core book, and I've already made all of the monsters out of the core book. So here's, for instance, here's the Palone, and it has everything in it. It's nice, neat, and organized. You can drag it into the combat tracker, as you can see, and when you do that, it puts the token in there. It has its level, its initiative, its health is already there, all of its attacks will be there, damage, etc. when it becomes its turn. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. It's great. So fully functional NPC sheet is really good. The next thing we'll take a look is the encounters, and this used to be in with the NPCs, but now it's its own entity after 3.2, and you can use the drag down box depending on what module you're using. It'll have parcels created if you create them, and then you can just basically set the tokens up on the map, and then every time you play that module, you'll just open up the encounter and hit this little arrow button, and when you do that, it'll throw the monsters in the combat tracker, and it'll also pop the tokens up on the map that you put those tokens on. Really nice feature for the encounters. Alright, so next let's take a look at the items. And you've already seen this, but I want to show you the grouping. Now I've created this to where I wanted the armor in its own section, the artifacts in its own section, ciphers, equipment, oddities, special equipment, weapons, etc. So to make it easy on the players, if they want some armor, all they have to do is say, okay, here's the armor from the core book, and then here's everything. And like before, like I was saying, everything is drag and drop. So if they want a chainmail hauberk, just drag it over there, and then they'll go to the actions tab and adjust their armor, speed reduction, etc., etc. Really easy, and it's really easy to make these too, because the item sheet is really nice. So whoever made this rule set put a lot of effort into this. So here's the item sheet, and you can see that here's just a plain piece of equipment. You can just click on the type. So here's a cipher item sheet. Here's an artifact cipher sheet with the macro and the depletion roll. Here's the oddity item sheet. Here's a weapon sheet and an armor sheet. I mean, that's really awesome. That's what I did. That's what I used. I used all of these to this one sheet to create all these different items. So I have a ton of different items. I have about 200 items now, because there's 50 items on each page, and I have 4 pages, so it didn't really take that long. And the nice thing about this search is it tells you what book that it's from, because that's the way I label them. So, and you can use the search down here. If you want a sword, just type in sword, and here's all the different swords. I mean, it's as simple as that. Really nice rule set, guys. I mean, it's really nice. So items, drag and droppable, all that good stuff. The next thing is the parcel. This is what is actually works with the party sheet. You could take a parcel here, and just call it test parcel. And this is what you're going to create whenever you make a module or whatever. You'll take a couple of items also, and you can drag and drop them into the parcel. And then when you add the parcel to the party sheet up here, as you can see, it'll add everything to the party sheet. So let's get this. We'll say, all right, the players found 15 shims which is the currency, and then they found an amulet of safety, armored flesh, and a backpack. And then you would just type in the person's name here, and it has to be, it is cap sensitive, and it has to be the full name too. And then you just hit the distribute button, and it takes those items and the money, splits the money evenly, and then it takes the items and puts it on the character sheets that you assign it to. It's really, really, really nice. So that is the loot parcel, and that used to be part of the items, but now since 3.2 has come out, it's its own entity now. Lastly, here's your tokens. Whatever tokens you have loaded in there, you can do that by hitting the GM button for all of the tokens that you don't want your players to see and have control of. And then the shared is what you let your players, go into the tokens and mess around with them. Lastly, here's your library. This is where everything is. This is the new 3.2 feature. So if you are, if you're playing, maybe you don't want the story tabs up there, you can just uncheck that, and you'll notice on the right the story tab banner disappeared. Maybe you don't want the tables up there, you don't want the story tabs, etc., etc. You can add, take away. You can set up a GM style that if you're GMing, you can set up a list for your GMing. You can also go to the players and set up a like a set of banners for when you're playing, or you do all like what I do, because I just want access to everything. Here's where all of your modules will be, and you can see that I've already created quite a few, but you won't have any, and you just access those by hitting the module button and just turning them on. It's as simple as that. So guys, gals, that is the Numenera rule set that is absolutely free in Fantasy Grounds. It's very well put together. You don't need any other extensions, anything else. It will recognize all of your DCs, your skill checks. It has macros built into the character sheet, a fully customizable NPC sheet, item sheets, all that good stuff. You can play Numenera to the max with this rule set. And like I said, it's totally free. So thank you guys again for watching. Totally appreciate it. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. Do you like to play Numenera? And if you do you like to play on Fantasy Ground? Alright everybody, thank you again for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.